the second hour, you're our guest open mic features, and some of you are signing up for the open mic with some extra spaces that we have. So you'll have 3 minutes apiece, and you also, those of you who have been my guest features for that, you've seen the order. But I'll be introducing all of you in groups, and so you will just come in. I won't come in each time and introduce you. So when you hear me give your bio in the grouping, just know that you're following whoever you're following. We will also help you in the chat with to let you know. Kim's really, really good. She's amazing at helping us keep on track in the chat. So what I'm going to do though, in the few minutes that we have, I want to just check in with our readers from the first hour, and welcome to everybody who's joining. I'm not sorry that we have so many people that are here to herd the cats, but I'm thrilled actually. But we don't usually, it's not that often that we have this many people we want to do a sound check with. So Dustin, I'm going to go through and we'll check in with everyone. And is Claire here yet? Dustin, have you seen Claire in the room?
She messaged me that she's having technical difficulties, so she's going to try to access by her phone. Apparently, there's like a power outage that she's dealing with.
Oh, okay, okay. So we will just kind of monitor that situation. That means you might be reading first after Maureen. We're good. And then Sarah Cooper. Have you heard anything from Sarah?
I have not.
Okay. All right.
I can email right now too.
Okay. Um, James, let's hear a little bit from you. Just here's how I like to do things. Just your full name so I hear how you pronounce it. You're like, come on, Sandy, you can pronounce my name. But I this is a routine for me.
Yeah,
And
no, it's good.
where you're joining from, and yeah, if folks want to share their pronouns, that's fine too.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm James Davis. Pronouns he, him series. I'm joining you from Denton, Texas. And I have like the air conditioner like window unit on very nearby. Is it like
Nope,
reading?
not a bit. Not a drop of
Okay,
condensation.
that's
I'm
good.
not hearing a thing. So you're good.
Wonderful.
Great.
Okay.
Thank
Well,
you.
good. Happy Pride, everyone.
Happy Pride. Okay, perfect. So we'll go to the second hours, folks. JD, let's do a quick sound check with you.
I'm JD Isip, and I am coming to you from Houston, Texas. And hopefully you probably see my dog back there. She's adorable. But I apologize if they start barking.
It's all good. It's all good. Thank you. Caridad, welcome. You're next. Let's see how you're doing.
Hi
Sound-wise.
everyone, I'm Caridad Moro-Gronlier. I'm coming to you from Miami, Florida, and my dog is passed out downstairs, so not an issue. Happy to be
Beautiful.
here, everyone, and happy Pride.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. And Mel.
Hi, hey everybody. I'm Mel Sherrer, coming to you from Las Vegas. So far, so good, but you never know what's going to be going down in the background. Welcome. Hope you can hear me okay.
Yeah, you sound fantastic.
Awesome. Great. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh. I've heard so many of you read from the anthology because I've gone to anthology readings. But so I love the anthology so much, and so I'm always really excited when I get to hear you folks read from the anthology, even if you've never been on the program before. So, those of you this is your first time on Cultivating Voices Live Poetry, welcome, and I'm just so thrilled to have you here for this amazing purpose to, celebrate Pride in this very, very challenging, tumultuous year, of course. where I think, you know, we need all our voices more than ever. Dustin, MT is registered. But do you see? I'm just
I
trying to.
did. I actually have MT's number and I texted them and have not gotten a response back.
Okay, no worries. No worries.
And
Okay.
Sarah just registered, so she should be getting an email any second.
Okay. Beautiful. All right. Well, I'm gonna go. Yeah, we've just got a couple minutes. It's not a big worry, folks, if we haven't done a sound check with you. But those of you in my second hour, I just want to say hello to Risa. And Risa's here with us from Headmistress Press, where we're kind of featuring folks from the Lavender Review and the Lesbian Poet Trading Card series. Has Jendi, here comes Jendi, great. Yeah, Reese has been on the program many times, so I'm not really worried about her sound. Judith Barrington. Has Judith joined us yet? I don't see. Yeva, let's do a quick check with you. Just say hi. I know your sound's always good.
Hi, Sandy. So happy to be here.
Yeah,
Coming
thank
to you
you,
from San
San
Francisco.
Francisco. Beautiful. And next, let's hear quickly. Here comes Sarah. Beautiful. Okay, and we've just got about a minute to go, everybody. I think, yeah, Karen, Poppy, you want to see how we're doing with your sound?
Hi, Sandy. Is my sound okay?
Perfect. You're perfect. Let's see. Mary. Yeah, Mary Oishi. Let's do a quick check for you.
Hello, Mary Oishi.
Sound terrific as always. Marianne, let's see how your sound is.
I'm Marianne Brems, and I'm coming to you from Portola Valley, California.
Thank you and welcome. I'm really looking forward to hearing you read today, and thank you for all the really great communication. Cheng, you're here today. I see you in the room. Hello.
Hello, I'm making my toast.
Okay.
But you can hear me just fine, right?
I can. Yes,
Great.
yes. Jendi Reiter, I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, fantastic.
Just a heads up, Sandy, that
everybody.
it is 3:00.
Okay, thank you.
Have a great reading, everyone, and I will close the waiting list sign up in just a few minutes. So if you want to sign up to be on the waiting list for the open mic, just simply type your name into the chat and I will get that. Thank you. Have a great time.
Thank you. Thank you. That's Kim Ports Parsons. All right, it's the top of the hour, folks. We have had hundreds upon hundreds of views of our first reading. I expect the same to be true of today. So that's it. Happy Pride, everyone. Oh my gosh. We're here. It's our 6th annual Poetry Pride Parade, Part 2. We couldn't just do one. We had to do another one. And this is, not only is it our Part 2, our second parade in 2 weeks here on Cultivating Voices Live Poetry, this is also our spring season finale today. So we are going out big, bold, proud for this Pride Month, and we have the most amazing, beautiful program to share with you today. I'm your host, Sandy Yannone, otherwise, as Kim likes to say, your Grand Marshal for today. I've got my bubbles, I've got my little Pride love bomb, I've got my heart, I'm all ready to go. And I've got lesbian poet trading cards. We have books to throw off of the floats to give away today to all of you. And in our first hour, we're going to be featuring the beautiful, beautiful anthology, one of my favorite anthologies of all of last year into perpetuity, When I Was Straight, a tribute to Maureen Seaton. And Maureen Seaton, not only is Maureen featured in this beautiful anthology from the readers we're going to hear today, she is also a lesbian poet trading card. We'll talk about that a little later during the program. So that's our first hour. And when you're with us for our second hour today, we will be featuring in our open mic some of our guests in Lavender Reviews from Headmistress Press, A Taste, their anthology, as well as the incredible lesbian poet trading card series. We've got lots of cards here. I love to play with cards. Well, you know, before I introduce Dustin Brookshire, who's going to talk a little, the editor of When I Was Straight, and talk a little bit about the anthology and the making of the anthology and the significance of the anthology, you know, I just want to acknowledge why we created this space, this Poetry Pride Parade. We began our series in March of 2020. And as we were so this is our 5th anniversary year. When we were approaching June, as we were heading into Pride in 2020, it occurred to me all the Pride parades were going to go away. There would be no Pride parades. And so on Cultivating Voices, we created our first annual Poetry Pride Parade to create and hold that space. We have needed to hold space for so many things over these past 5 years. You could almost look at any given day, right up until this morning, for why we need to use our voices, to be bold, to be loud, to be proud, and to counter so many other narratives and things in the daily news cycles. I don't even need to enumerate them, and often you folks in this space beautifully do that with your poetry. So I want to just acknowledge that, you know, this is a space for us today to celebrate, to have joy, to share that joy with each other through our poetry, with our allies, as well as to speak toward, against the daily news cycles that come through, and really speak truth to power. I see it every time we come together. And so today's Pride Parade for me is no different than it's no different in that this is the space that we create every time we come together with poetry. This is what it is for. It is for that, it is for that strength of power, community, and using poetry to really amplify and do that. So I am incredibly, incredibly grateful for all of your voices that we'll be hearing from today. I'll be introducing folks in groups. Those of you in the audience, thank you for joining us here live in our Zoom studio, as well as those of you watching on Facebook and on YouTube, and also the hundreds of you that will be watching the recording. I'm going to start by introducing to you the editor of When I Was Straight, a tribute to Maureen Seaton, to open up today's program. And I'll give Dustin's poet bio in a moment, but I really want to first acknowledge Dustin as the editor and visionary for this incredibly moving, powerful, beautiful anthology. And so grateful for you, Dustin, putting this in the world. And I know there's an important backstory to it. So I'd love you to tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll get started with the poems. And thank you for being here.
So first, I want to extend my gratitude to Sandy for the invitation to feature When I Was Straight, a tribute to Maureen Seaton in Cultivating Voices. So thank you, Sandy. And additionally, I want to recognize the labor by Don and Ken that they also put in to make Cultivating Voices happen. So if you all would, clap, use the reaction, snap. Let's give the love to this group of people who make this happen. It's hard work and they do it so well. As a curator, I loved the emails and how detailed they were. This team rocks. So thank you so much for that. When it comes to Maureen Seaton, and I'll hold it up again. I know I might blur on, make sure it sort of shows. I first met Maureen Seaton in 2004, which I realize is a hot minute ago. So, I mean, I guess I was 4 years old when that happened, obviously. But she was a featured reader at Java Monkey in Atlanta, Georgia. And I was just blown away. I had just started taking some intro to creative writing poetry courses. And so Maureen was, as I say, was the first rock star poet that I had met, that I had read somewhere and then got to meet her. And she was reading from Furious Cooking. And I, to this day, can still hear that title poem coming from her on the stage. And while you should check out all of her books, I would like to say you should start with Furious Cooking. I know it's not the first, but it is amazing and you will not be disappointed. So Denise Duhamel is Maureen's OG collaborator. Maureen collaborated with a lot of people, but when you would hear Denise and Maureen talk. They did it back in the day of answering machines, and they would leave lines for each other on the answering machine, going back and forth. And Denise spotlighted When I Was Straight, Maureen's poem, back in 2023 in February in the Best American Poetry blog. And she also spotlighted Julie Marie Wade's When I Was Straight in that same entry. And I really hadn't thought about that poem in a very long time. So I had to go pull Little Ice Age, which is the collection that you can find When I Was Straight in. And it just set me down memory lane of thinking how when we're part of the queer community, how everyone assumes we're straight. We're expected to be straight. Everything is force fed that way. And I wanted to write a poem in tribute to Maureen using her poem When I Was Straight. And then I did that and I thought, well, what would happen if other writers did the same thing? So the assignment for this anthology was to read Maureen's poem, feel moved however you are, and you have to title your poem When I Was Straight. Only requirements, no length, do whatever you feel inspired to do. And I'm really thrilled that 23 contributors came together. We also received permission to use Maureen's poem in the anthology from her family, Jennifer and Emily, her fabulous daughters. And so when you purchase this book, you're doing a little good in the world, because not only are you, paying tribute and honoring the legacy that is Maureen Seaton, the editor's proceeds from the anthology go to support the Maureen Seaton Poetry Prize, which is now in its second year through South Florida Poetry Journal. I have to give a shout out to Judy, Michael, Lenny, and especially Michael. He's our operations guru that makes everything happen on the backside for the South Florida Poetry Journal. And we all read for it in addition to Nicole Talman, who's the anthology. So I'd like for you to follow South Florida Poetry Journal. So when you see this annual contest come up, please share it. It is open. You just have to be LGBTQI plus to enter into it, since we are honoring Maureen. But anyone is open to enter into that contest. And there is no entry fee. That is something that when this prize was discussed with Maureen before she left us, was something that was important to her. So we're honoring that legacy as well as making it accessible to everyone. So, Sandy, do you want me to go ahead and read Maureen's poem now? Okay. So I'm going to read you Maureen's poem to set the stage for the rest of us. When I Was Straight by Maureen Seaton. When I was straight, I dreamed of nipples. My dreams were crowded with cleavage and yen. I read a book that said if you are fickle about sex, note your obsession in dreams, then do the opposite in real life. This made sense, my boyfriend said. Although it seemed oddly like a game of exquisite corpse to me, we'd make love, I'd dream of figs that drizzled pink, and sometimes I'd lapse into madrigals, meaning of the womb. Big leap from the straightforward sessions in bed of linearity and menthol. Legs would cross and uncross in my dreams, heads fall back with me at the throat. I adored the wing clavicle, that link between breastbone and scapula. Straight as gin, I poured myself into pretense and fellatio. You could count on me for bold orgasms, for trapeze art and graceful aerobics. Oh, there is no lover like a panicked lover. Once I dreamed of abandoning the old boyfriend theory of headache and blunderbuss. Believe me, I said, this will hurt him more than me. But the dream laughed. Torture me, I thought, now that even my id has turned against me. There is something fragile here to lose. Exquisite truth. And I did. In closing, I just want to say, I want to quote Jennifer Steele and Emily Blank, Maureen's daughters. In their blurb of the book, they wrote, "We hope that this book inspires writers to continue sharing their stories and their exquisite truth." So I hope everyone here will keep writing to your exquisite truth. And this time it is more important to ever. And Maureen had so much of a legacy in her writing, but she also was a legacy of kindness and generosity. So I challenge everybody today to do one extra thing of kindness, one extra ounce of generosity in your life, and do it in honor of Maureen. Thank you, Sandy. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Dustin. That's Dustin Brookshire, everyone, the editor of When I Was Straight, a tribute to Maureen Seaton. And I'll just briefly say that I had the pleasure of meeting Maureen a number of times. We often we at one point thought maybe we were going to do a panel together at AWP one year. It didn't happen. She was published at Prairie Schooner where I was working, so I remember reading her manuscripts coming in and then when publishing her. And whenever I had the opportunity to be in her company, I really knew that I was with a mentor. But I also just felt her, her love of poetry and her love of making sure that she knew that, or that she made me feel like I was welcome into the LGBTQ community. And whatever letter that you use in the alphabet, I'm here at the Sugar Shack. This is where I'm broadcasting from, here in Olympia, Washington. My friend Roxy gave me this amazing pin, and it says, no matter what, the pin says, however, everything is queer today. Everything is queer today. And on that note, let me introduce our first set of readers, who are the rainbow themselves. And we're gonna hear right back. We're gonna go right back to Dustin Brookshire, but I'm gonna introduce the next three readers. Dustin Brookshire is a recipient of the 2024 John Tribble Editors Fellowship. His fourth and latest chapbook is Repeat as Needed by Harbor Editions. Just came out very recently. Congratulations, Dustin. And he is the editor, of course, of When I Was Straight, a tribute to Maureen Seaton from Harbor Editions 2024, and the co-editor of Let Me Say This, a Dolly Parton poetry anthology from Madville Publishing. That's right, Roxy. Yup, he is. 2023. Next, following Dustin, will be Sarah Cooper. Sarah Cooper is an assistant professor in the English department at Colorado State University, and her interdisciplinary scholarship resides at the intersection of archives, rhetoric, gender, and queer theory and sexuality studies. She is also the editor of two poetry collections, Permanent Marker from Paper Nautilus 2020 and 89% from Clemson University Press in 2022. And closing out the first set will be James Davis. James Davis is the author of Club Q, which won the Anthony Hecht Poetry Prize. James's work has been featured on NBC News and CBC Radio and published in Best New Poets, Bennington Review, Nashville Review, the Gettysburg Review, the Swanee Review, and other notable venues. He teaches English at the University of North Texas, where he served as co-editor of American Literary Review. Folks, all of the folks' bios will be in the chat. Please do support not only the When I Was Straight anthology, purchasing that from Small Harbor Publishing from Editions, but also the work of these tremendous poets. So back to you, Dustin.
I'm going to open with my Maureen tribute. When I was straight, I stayed home while my mother drove to the grocery store, 2 hours alone to prance in my mother's high heels, wear her dresses and nightgowns, and a white t-shirt as a wig. I'd probe her jewelry box, slip on a ring or two, a necklace, and the bracelet she only wore for special occasions. Sometimes I applied her lipstick with a smile. I'd sit back straight, legs crossed, directing the household staff that we didn't have on the tasks of the day: vacuum, mop, polish the china, and press the laundry. A boss lady before it was a thing. I'd twirl around the living room with one hand extended, an invitation to a man who wouldn't enter my life for another 35 years. When I was straight, my father would say, I'd rather one of my sons blow my brains out than tell me he is gay. I read this villanelle at an event at AWP, and I was like, who wants a horny villanelle? And there was a lady in the front row who went, not me. So I was like, so I hope you all want a horny villanelle, because that's what you're getting next. Sizzling villanelle. It is easy enough to devise the plan. A compliment followed by another. I knew I'd have an affair with this married man. A doctor with a wife, kids, a lab, and a minivan. He's bisexual and always horny, eager to screw. Usually it's enough for him to plan, whether the wife's on a girls' trip or during the span of time she's at the salon for a blowout. Yes, it's true. I've been hard up for an affair with a married man. Sex, delicious as a steak out of a sizzling pan, is what I need. No want, no desire. You see, it's easy enough to devise a plan when men are so damn predictable. You can lead a man by his dick when his balls are blue. You'll end up in bed with a married man, or in a parking lot giving a handjob in a sedan. Is this villanelle rooted in lies, or is it true? You should know lying can always be part of a plan, but maybe I will have an affair with a married man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dustin. That was beautiful as always, and provocative as always. So always good to read alongside you. I'm going to start with the poem that I wrote as well for the anthology, When I Was Straight. When I was straight, other straight people told me my body had purpose. They promised my body could make another body, that my body would carry a being waiting to be. How did they not know how terrifying those sounds could be to a child? When I was straight, someone I loved told me I wasn't, and I didn't understand what that meant, except that I was different, and that was wrong. And that difference was a separation, a divide between me and the people I love. So I tried to understand what my differences were, and I took a knife's tip, dug them from me. I deposited my differences in shallow graves in a riverbed. I prayed for heavy rains to wash them downstream. to some other body who could embody not being straight. Years later, when I tried to excavate them, I found muddy holes in a shore where a frog had laid her eggs and tadpoles swam in my emptied not straightness. They thrived there. I'm going to read one more poem. This is from my poetry collection, 89%. And I love this collection right now a lot because Maureen blurbed it. And she wrote 3 blurbs, actually, a long one, a medium one, and a short one. She was like, I know you can only use the short one, but I want you to have all 3. So I'm going to read a poem from this that she really liked, and she helped me edit a bit. And it comes with an epigraph. And it's entitled, My Love Asks When I Began Writing Poems. And the epigraph reads, For I often part with things I fancy I have loved, sometimes to the grave, and sometimes to an oblivion rather bitterer than death. Emily Dickinson, early middle writings, mid-1850s to mid-1860s. My love asks when I began writing poems. I was 12. It read, I love Katie D. Her hair falls like willow branches over freckled shoulders. These poems were exits from my body. No one taught me how to pass, how to correct myself, how to straighten. I learned to keep a straight face. You think it's my game face, but love, I want to tell you, it is the face that kept me from showing everyone all the wanting my mouth hungered for. By 16, my bitten cheeks were scar tissue canvases hanging from a mouth chewed quiet. My molars finally learned how to hold skin without biting, without clenching, without beckoning the blood to trickle down throat. In my treehouse, I burned those poems, let flicker grow to flame, watched edges curl to black, read words in reverse until fire met eyeline. My love, all those poems are ashes below 2 trees that once suspended me. I buried those traces, or on windy days offered a breezy escape. My stoic face was no contender for words about loving girls, about wanting to love girls. Love, I have burned and buried my youth. When my life is over, honor those poems and those girls. Promise you'll cremate me. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Sarah. Hi, everyone. I'm James. I, too, am going to begin with my poem from the Maureen anthology, which is just across the gutter from Sarah's. It's an honor to be touching when we close the page, Sarah. I hope things are nice in Fort Collins, if that is where you are right now. It's called When I Was Straight. I was piss drunk, a sophomore. I flopped and humped a basement floor and swore I'd fuck 100 hoes. My rainbow socks with all 10 toes said otherwise. I had to laugh with the other guys at my stagecraft. I understudied the part of stoner beneath some buddies and a furtive boner. We played the wall on a PlayStation and gaped, enthralled by the visualizations, the way they matched each song's esprit. In short, I crashed. I earned a C, my very first, in honors chem. I grunted and cursed in a muggy gym on the solo flex. My preacher curls almost impressed a Mormon girl. To tell the truth, it was kind of fun to act uncouth and be no one, to benefit from politesse that thinks you're straight when you're a mess. Okay, I'm going to read one more poem. It's a pantoum about, among other things, twink death, which is very, of the moment. And it's called Zoom. I am not wearing any pants at the virtual reading tonight. Maybe you can tell by looking at the little box of James virtually reading tonight in a wrinkled gray sweatshirt with a littler box of James behind me on my gallery wall. In my wrinkled gray sweatshirt, I am aging, my vainest years behind me. On my gallery wall hangs a bright acrylic self-portrait of a twink, painted years before this reading in Florida. My bright acrylic self portrayed in a deep blue V-neck saying, "Hey." Before this reading in Florida, the House proposed a bill. In that deep red state, saying gay might cost a teacher their classroom, their house. The proposed bill, like so many, is designed to peck, to accost teachers. Their classrooms feel a little less safe, less brave, like so many, designed to peck their students into familiar orders. I feel a little less safe, less brave every time I check the news. I'm a student of a familiar order. I write my little poems and hope every time I check the news that my words will change your mind. I read my little poem and hope, maybe, I can't tell by looking, my words have changed your mind. I am not wearing any pants. Thank you, that's it for me. Pleasure sharing space with all of you.
That's James Davis, everyone. We heard also from Sarah Cooper, as well as the editor of When I Was Straight, a tribute to Maureen Seaton, Dustin Brookshire. And I love this anthology so much for so many reasons. And I am not in the anthology, but I was so inspired when I heard the first reading that I went to online from the anthology that I wrote my own When I Was Straight poem. So I thought I would read that because we have a little bit of time right now. And I have a vision. I don't know if it's your vision, Dustin, but I'm just going to say it out loud to everybody that I want to encourage everyone to write your own When I Was Straight poem. It was really empowering for me, and I really hope that either, Harbor Editions or another press will take up the mantle and possibly do a volume 2 of When I Was Straight. So write those poems and, maybe we'll all get to publish them together in an anthology. So this also was inspired by a line from Julie Marie Wade's poem. Julie's been on our program many, many times. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to be with us today. Later, we're going to be gifting away a copy of her When I Was Straight chapbook that inspired the poem that's of hers that's in When I Was Straight. But this relies on a line that she has about the sumptuous dark. So you'll hear that, and I want to just give that big shout out to Julie. When I was straight. Once, and what felt like the first time and maybe wasn't, a young woman landed perfect kisses on the bullseye of my mouth in the sumptuous and satisfying dark. I watched her shadow move into mine after she asked, "Can I kiss you?" Song bled into my left ear, and I rolled over and away from the wall to face her face to face. I should have been terrified by the snowy whites of her eyes in April, her tongue entwining with mine, our hands initiating their searches without flashlights from the twin bed. Yet what my hands found and felt there far exceeded what I'd always desired and could not hold. A lasting, so beyond the confines of our bed and breaths and brains, heavy with hours of kegged beer. She knew she loved something about us in the drunken dark, something about me that once in a lifetime night, but couldn't place her trigger finger on it by morning when I woke, curved away from her, sure of a new world now unfolding in the defiant and raptured daylight, until she stood over me and pulled it, demanding, "Get up. My mother will be here in an hour, so you need to leave." And then the final death blow, a 2x4 to the side of the head. "I'm not, you're not, and we will never talk about this again." We did and we didn't every day for a while, until one early May afternoon, after a joyride in my mother's white Buick station wagon, parked, she turned to me from the sticky red vinyl passenger seat, my hand still clutching the steering wheel, and deadpanned, "We're pretty remarkable, don't you think, for getting through this?" I smiled, said yes in my best fabricated voice, never thinking to name this as something to have to get through, but something I'd hoped would stay. At the end of the month, she graduated, moved on to a summer of flirting with a man boy she wanted for years, who drove a black BMW with a tinted sunroof. He slap-happy kissed me in her father's house one night in June, while they were high on cocaine and I was bloated with whiskey and gin. We tried to play Trivial Pursuit. I can't remember any of the questions or if anyone won. We were mixing questions from the original and the baby boomer decks, like sloppy drinks into the dissatisfying dark where no one got what they wanted. I know this because in the morning, when she asked how I was feeling, and I claimed fine, like I was talking to a zombied coat check girl, she carried to life and aspirated, "Are you kidding? You don't remember getting sick all over the bedroom?" I didn't. BMW boy laughed out loud while she darted a look that said, "And don't think I didn't see you slobber her with kisses." Her pain worse than all the hangovers hovering in the room. We shoveled scrambled eggs into our black holes in silence until we could wait no longer for the afternoon to turn into happy hour, and took the BMW on the curvy back roads to the seashore for a merry-go-round of gin and tonics. 40 years later, in the half-light of a year's last afternoon, I witness a woman fade backwards into the bed's sandy sheets underneath my recalibrated body and choke out, I'm drowning," while I try to keep her from sinking further into whatever salty sea she imagines she's in. And as for whom she imagines I am, our faces half shadowed in the waning light, I will never know. She's gone now. Maybe she was never here with me, and maybe I was the only one who concluded I was alone again, in love, in the sumptuous and satisfying dark. Well, that's what Maureen and Denise and Dustin and all of you in When I Was Straight inspired for me to write, and I hope you all are inspired to keep writing your When I Was Straight poems. Well, let's go to our second set of readers. But first, before we do, let's do our first gift away. And our first gift away is we're going to be giving away a copy of Jendi Isip's book. And how we do this is I take the word pride and I go in my squares randomly, Pride. And so actually the first person is Caridad. You're the winner. You're going to get that copy. We'll be keeping track of all of this. Thank you. And now let me introduce our next set of readers. Well, our first reader is Jendi Isip, and Jendi is the author of 3 full-length collections of poetry and prose, Reluctant Prophets, which Caridad is just the recipient of, and Kissing the Wound, both from Moontide Press 2025 and 2023, respectively. And Pocketing Feathers, Sadie Girl Press 2015. His work has appeared in several print and online publications and has been included in a number of anthologies, and JD lives and teaches in the suburbs of Houston, Texas. Following JD will be Caridad Moro-Gronlier, who is the poet laureate of Miami-Dade County. She is the author of Tortillera from Texas Review Press 2021, Visionware, and the forthcoming As to Your Comment. She is also the author of and editor of Grabbed, Poets and Writers Respond to Sexual Assault, Empowerment, and Healing from Beacon Press 2020. Certainly an anthology I wish we had featured here on Cultivating Voices. Probably not too late.
Not too late.
Not too late. Okay, let's talk. Caridad serves as a senior editor, one of my favorite journals, online or print or anywhere in the world, Swim Every Day, and as the Betsy Writers Room poetry curator at large, and she lives in Westchester, Florida, with her family. Following Caridad will be Mel Sherrer, who is a writer, editor, and educator. She received her BFA from Hollins University in Roanoke, Virginia, and her MFA from Converse College in Spartansburg, South Carolina. Mel teaches and conducts creative writing and performance literature workshops, and she currently resides in the one and only Las Vegas, Nevada. And closing out this set will be M.T. Vallarta, who is a poet and assistant professor of ethnic studies at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. They are the author of the poetry collection, What You Refuse to Remember, which was winner of the 2022 Small Harbor Publishing Laureate Prize, a Lambda Literary Fellow, a Kundiman Fellow, and Pushcart Prize nominee. MT's poetry and creative nonfiction can be found in the Selkie Show, Mad Woman in the Attic, Nat, Brute, Apogee, and many, many others. Thank you all, and we're really looking forward to hearing your When I Was Straight poems, among others. Thank you all for being here.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to start with my poem titled When I Was Straight. I schooled myself in distance, extracting want from touch, watching it deoxitize into rust red and lust left mostly clinging to beaker walls, whilst I at arm's length clung to a rounded shoulder cap, a bicep, chest, stomach, latching myself fully to a man I didn't want, could hold like this, could not want, could bring me to my need. Call it a game, call it a match, call him every night, to wrestle, to practice, not wanting. We would enter the laboratory separately, check our instruments, make sure everything was clean, washed and pristine. His room made me think of a butchery, how the interim of slicing and blood is clinical and white, how there are animals. Meat is different. Meat doesn't talk back, doesn't moan or protest, doesn't have eyes. We always look away. It's just parts, ribs and haunches. It's just what you eat when you are hungry for something you haven't had. And I'm going to close with, I thought of doing a parade, and I thought the best pride parade would have Walt Whitman at the end. So I thought I'd read something from Walt Whitman that always cheers me up when the world seems pretty freaking miserable. And, you know, we're in that kind of day. So, oh me, oh life, O me, O life of the questions of these recurring, of the endless trains of the faithless, of cities filled with the foolish, of myself forever reproaching myself for whom more foolish than I, and who more faithless, of eyes that vainly crave the light, of the objects mean of the struggle ever renewed, of the poor results of all, of the plodding and sordid crowds I see around me, of the empty and useless years of the rest, with the rest me intertwined. The question, O me, so sad recurring, what good amid these, O me, O life? Answer, that you are here, that life exists an identity, that the powerful play goes on, and you may contribute a verse. Thank you.
Thanks, JD, and thanks to everyone. Thank you, Sandy, for having me, and thank you, Dustin, for putting together this beautiful anthology. First, Maureen was someone I looked up to on the page, then she became my teacher, and then she became my friend. And every time I write, I think of her. So this one's for you. When I was straight. When I was straight, I married a straight man and stayed married for 16 straight years. I said I love you straight-faced, but I knew the truth. I was no straight arrow. My parents thought I held a straight flush when I brought home a boy with straight blonde hair and blue eyes. A real straight shooter who asked Boppy if he could take me off his hands. Straight away, Boppy said yes. I was 20, and it was time to straighten me up and out of his house. He thought that straight-laced Americano would make me walk the straight and narrow, straight jacket my mouth, and remove the straight-edged razor from my demeanor. But that boy thought I was straight up awesome, even though I felt straight up awful that I wasn't, straightforward about kissing my best girlfriend, or just how dire the straits of my desire for her were, a want I was not straight bred for. For 16 years I tried, but I was never straight with him until I walked straight out the door. Thanks, everyone. So I was going to read a poem about everything we've lost, what we're afraid of, what we look around the corners for now, but I decided, fuck that. I'm going to read a poem that celebrates my love, and this one's for my wife, and it is brand new, y'all. It'll be coming out in Pleiades in the fall. On our 10th anniversary, we remember our disastrous first date. For Elizabeth. After learning you did not drink coffee or wine, that you preferred pizza to most things, were in no rush to renew the passport you'd let expire, I was most taken aback by the fact that you loved that vegetarian vampire series I hated. The one named for the moment the sun scatters into rays across the atmosphere. I called bullshit on the whole enterprise. The undead no longer coffined or nostalgic for light, free instead to glitter at dawn beneath a canopy of northern pines, a legend broken open. Only the trope of the bloodied teenage virgin bruised and knocked up on her wedding night remained intact. I thought it was blasphemous, an affront to Stokerian lore. But the lapse in mythology didn't bother you, which bothered me too much to be entirely about you and more about my affinity for love in the dark. My core a haunted tomb, low lit, a flicker, unprepared for the torch of you. The blaze you held in your fist, fearless as Van Helsing, determined to unearth what I believed I had sealed away in the crypt of my heart. Thank you so much.
That was amazing, Caridad. Thanks for reading. I was amongst a group of people in the world who was fortunate enough to meet Maureen, and she wrote rather the kind of poetry that makes you either want to write forever or like give up today because you're not doing that. So I really love her work, honestly. So my first poem is going to be from the anthology as well. When I was straight, I thought I'd act like a lady and like it. What did I know? I knew about flint and steel, stone and blade, how one body can spark life inside of another, how one life sharpens another. I knew what women could do alone together in a room or alone in this world. The next pieces I want to read are brand new, actually. Yeah. I heard it, mentally I heard it. So this first one is called Nourishment for Victims of the Male Loneliness Epidemic. Look, I was once just a girl, as I am just a woman now, a tiny grape in the middle of a long dining table. Reach for me from your faraway seat at the table's head. And then this last one I'll read is a poem I've decided to title American Lyrebird. Now, a lyrebird is a ground-dwelling bird, really cute, but it's known for its ability to mimic sounds, including but not limited to the sound of its own habitat being cut down. So this poem is called American Lyrebird. No mangoes and mariachi coloring corners of paradise, even Las Vegas is hushed, iced over. I do not blame you, Mango Man. I wouldn't make music while trees shiver down. Every song would be the screams of chainsaws. Thank you, guys. That's all I'm going to share today. And thanks, Sandy and Dustin, for having me.
Wow, Mel, that was incredible. I don't know how to follow these three incredible poets, but I'm gonna try. I want to thank Sandy for cultivating this space and for being such a beacon of light and hope for so many queer folks. And I want to thank Dustin too for not only inviting me to be a part of this anthology, but also for inviting us to this reading. So unfortunately, I never got to meet Maureen virtually or in person, but her work has been an inspiration for me and continues to be, whether it's, wanting to remember what queer joy feels like, or just wanting to, have inspiration to get up in the morning and tackle the day. Maureen's work just breathes life into so many people and so many beings. So I just feel so incredibly blessed to be a part of this. The first poem I'm going to read is from When I Was Straight, and it's titled When I Was Straight. I picture a dollhouse. I sit with shadows in the middle. Crickets bleed outside the window. A tree shaves its own bark. I tiptoe in grasshopper feet and slip nectar between my legs. The walls are made of teak. I smell my grandfather's pomade, all bougainvillea and turpentine. Damn. I would turn back time so I can buy myself lavender, wipe liquid crystal off my eyes, pierce a moon in my nostril, trill my most damnedest self into symphony. I will never die again thinking, God, I'm so glad it's over. So the next piece I'm going to read is actually the last poem from my poetry collection, What You Refuse to Remember, which was also published with Small Harbor. Small Harbor is just an incredible independent press, great home. Please check out the rest of the Small Harbor titles. Everything that's published there is just incredible. This piece I'm going to write is about non-binary identity. I identify as non-binary and use they, them, their pronouns. It's called After Anzaldúa. What does love mean at this time? as we dance in the face of our fears, but still constantly scorch ourselves white. Will I have to yank the septum off your nose while you clamp the straight passing onto mine? Will we love in vice grips until we writhe? How do you speak your second language without feeling yourself split? A splatter of manila mango on asphalt. Never getting used to the way smog curls, tightening itself, singeing our leg hair. What does the body do when it dies, but your bones still squeak? Mum, sir, Hershey, I'll paste it above your pocket. Ninoy Aquino wants his airport back. Thirds never register on the X-ray, the petition, the map. Indecipherably, nose bridges pecking, same hands brushing nail, tip, the first line of fate as we realize the truth about friction. Rubbing, resistance, a surge of possibility between two perplexed bodies. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much. That's MT Vallarta. And we also heard from Mel Sherrer, Caridad Moro-Gronlier, and Jendi Isip. And in that first set from When I Was Straight, we heard from James Davis, Sarah Cooper, and of course the editor of When I Was Straight, a tribute to Maureen Seaton, edited by the one and only Dustin Brookshire. Well, that's the end of our first hour. How about we just unmute just for a moment and show our deep appreciation for all the poets joining us from all around the country, the United States, sharing their amazing poems from When I Was Straight and their other beautiful, beautiful work.
Yay!
Yay!
Bravo!
Hooray!
Great poetry.
Yes, that's my mom, I think I hear there. Yeah, I think that's my mom. Yeah, she's the biggest champion here, I think. Folks, we're going to do another gift away before we move on to our second hour of our open mic, where we're going to be featuring poets and poetry from the Lavender Review, a taste anthology from Headmistress Press, as well as lesbian poet trading cards. But I'm going to ask Dustin to help me with this one. We're gifting away a lot of books. And what I want you to do, Dustin, the first gift away we're going to do is we're going to give away 5 copies of your Repeat as Needed, okay? And here's what I want you to do. I want you to use the word pride, and I want you to go the 5 squares next, like in repeat order, PRIDE. You could go horizontal, vertical, I trust you, wherever you want to go, maybe diagonal, I don't care. You're going to do PRIDE, and each of those letters is going to represent a person who's going to win one of your collections of Repeat as Needed. So tell me who the P is, and just tell me those names, and that's going to be our gift away of your books. Okay?
So Scott.
Oh, Scott.
Phynne-Belle, apologies if I'm pronouncing that wrong.
Yep.
Risa. Karen. Wait, math is hard. Is that 4? I think one more, right?
One more.
Billy is after Karen.
Billy Brown, you got it. Okay. Thank you. That's Dustin's new chapbook, just come out, Repeat as Needed. Thank you so much for donating those, Dustin. And do you want to give out the When I Was Straight ones now too? Let's do that as well, right?
Sure.
Okay. So again, let's take pride, go in a different place, and give me 5 names. And those of you, you'll each win a copy of the When I Was Straight anthology, a tribute to Maureen Seaton.
Okay, I'm going to go to the end and come backwards 5. So this is
all right.
Judith, Rosalie, Lady A, Ashley Elizabeth, that's 4, I need one more, and Laura.
Laura G, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. Who was your second one? I just missed that one. Second.
Rosalie was after Judith.
Oh yeah, Rosalie. Okay, thank you so much. Fabulous. All right, I'm going to come back to you a little later for a few more giveaways. So thank you, folks. Those are Dustin's copies of Repeat as Needed, his latest chapbook, courtesy of Small Harbor Publishing, as well as, of course, the amazing anthology, inspired by the absolutely radiant, incredible Maureen Seaton, When I Was Straight, a tribute to Maureen Seaton. If you are inspired by this anthology, I not only encourage you to buy one for yourself, gift one to someone else. Gift one to 25 people you know. It's so, you've heard the poetry today. It's so powerful, and we only heard a third of the poems in this collection. So when I went to AWP, I believe I bought the last copy because I was buying gifts for people. I said, I want everyone I know to have this. And that is also what inspired me to want to bring this fabulous anthology, edited by Dustin Brookshire, to Cultivating Voices Live Poetry. Thank you, all the poets who are here, who read from it today. Not only did I love your poems from the anthology, I loved hearing your other work, and I look forward to seeing you on future Cultivating Voices programs with those books. Let's stay in touch. Well, our second hour is, as I said, a beautiful array of guest poets who will be joining us. A number of them are from Headmistress Press's and Lavender Review, A Taste, which also sold out at AWP, because I happened to be spending quite a bit of time at that table, which was very exciting. And we will also be featuring poets from the Lesbian Poet Trading Card series, of which I'm really happy to be card now number 85. I've always wanted to be a trading card ever since I started collecting my Partridge Family trading cards, which I still have. So to be a trading card is so thrilling, and I'm going to be introducing some other of the trading cards in the series today, as we hear from our folks on the open mic. And I know there's many of you also listed in the open mic. So let's just go right to things. I want to first introduce the incredible Risa Denenberg, and just say thank you so much, Risa, for all the work that you do at Headmistress Press. Publishing your amazing books at Headmistress Press, Lavender Review, A Taste, as well as the Lesbian Trading Poet cards you're going to be reading. And you are also a card, Risa. You are card number 68. There you are. So thanks for all that you do. Thanks for all the support that you've given Cultivating Voices over the years. Risa read in our very first Poetry Pride Parade, and a number of them has been featured many times. I am incredibly grateful to you. And in this set, we will be hearing from Risa, and let me give you the bios of the folks that we'll be hearing from in our very first set here. Well, first, of course, will be Risa Denenberg, and Risa is in addition to being the co-founder of Headmistress Press, and her latest collection is Rain Dweller from Moonpath Press 2023. And of course, we featured that collection here in one of our new book showcases. Following Risa is going to be Judith Barrington, who, of course, I hope everyone in this room knows Judith Barrington's work and has probably taught it. Judith Barrington is card number 66 in the, there she is, in the Lesbian Poet Trading Card series, and is an award-winning poet, memoirist, and feminist activist. And her latest poetry collection, I hope I've got it right because I'm putting your salmon poetry collection front and center, is Long Love, New and Selected Poems from Salmon Poetry 2018, which means Judith's one of my salmon siblings. It's always nice to see you, Judith. Following Judith will be Yeva Johnson. Yeva Johnson, what can I say about Yeva? Yeva is our favorite marching band poet, doctor. Been on the program many, many times. If you've been here, you've heard her play. We couldn't have a parade without Yeva because Yeva plays the flute. And her latest collection is Analog Poet Blues from Black Lawrence Press, 2023, which we also featured in our new book showcase. Following Yeva is Karen Poppy. Karen Poppy's most recent collection is Diving at the Lip of the Water from Beltway Editions, 2023. I sound like a broken record here, everyone, but we featured that book as well here on Cultivating Voices Live Poetry. And Karen is in the Lavender Review at Taste, so a big shout out. I want to congratulations. And closing out that first set will be Mary Oishi. Mary Oishi is the Poet Laureate Emerita of Albuquerque, New Mexico, otherwise known as ABQ, to those in the know. And Mary was first featured in our Laureate Love Fest in February 2021, and her latest collection, which we've also featured here on Cultivating Voices, is Sidewalk Cruise Ship from the University of New Mexico 2024. Thank you all for being here. I'm looking forward to hearing your poems.
Am I just supposed to start?
Yep.
Thank you, Sandy.
I'll go in order. Yep.
Thank you, Sandy. I'm a little hoarse, so I hope you can hear me. I'm really excited about reading with Judith, Yeva, Karen, and Mary. Woo, it gives me a little tingle. I'm going to read one of the first poems I ever published back in the 90s when I was living in New York City. And I like bringing it out every year at Pride. It's called Whirlwind at Lesbos. We met in Istanbul, where your face was a veil, and you beckoned a reckless gesture. Cover your eyes, you hissed, when I dared look through your robe at your breast buds. You were 12 when we first kissed. Wadded your gum under the wadded your gum under the desk, whistled at me, spit into the wind, earnestly began chewing my hair. We ran away to Naples during the long war while flames licked our feet and charred our skin. Hurry, you barked over your shoulder. I was already losing sight. I wailed all night in Jerusalem when you turned me hard against the stone wall, pressing against my back as you reached up inside me, grabbed my womb with your fist. In winter, we rented a small cottage in Copenhagen, where winds blew snow over our bed. We embraced and couldn't let go. You were cold and needed comfort. We undressed each other, maidens in the 5th century, and were discovered naked, entwined, asleep, your ringlets black and soft on the silken pillow. But then I missed the cab to the airport, slept right through the alarm one morning in Cairo, and you were gone. I was beheaded with your name on my lips. The baggage was clearly marked, but reached Paris by error. I'm in New York, waiting for your email. Thank you.
Next is Judith. You can unmute.
Am I unmuted?
Yeah, you're unmuted. You sound great.
Thank you. It's a great honor to be part of this reading. and to read after a poet who I totally admire. And I wasn't sure how I was going to manage this because I'm away from home. I'm at the beach, and I'm actually sitting looking at a huge expanse of beautiful sand and the sea rolling in. I'm at Newport, Oregon, so that's added to the atmosphere of my reading. I'm going to read from what you called my most recent book, my most recent poetry book for sure, Long Love, new and selected poems, 85 to 17, published by Salmon, as is your work. I love Salmon Press. And when I had to put together a selected, of course, I had to go through all the previous books to see what I would like to keep and what I was going to throw out. And I realized that I have at times written lots of poems about horses, but there actually were even more poems in which somewhere in an image, a horse would sneak into the poem. And there were a lot of poems that were really not about horses, where horses were lurking in the background or the side or the shadows. So, but I chose to read a poem that is actually very closely related to horses, as I was a horse teen, one of those horse crazy girls. And this seems to be recognizable to a lot of girls, the women who were girls of that kind, and perhaps to others. So here it is. It's a fun poem, I think. It's called Why Young Girls Like to Ride Bareback. You grasp a clump of mane in your left hand, spring up and fall across her back. Then, pulling on the wiry black hair, which cuts into your palm and fourth finger, haul yourself up till your right leg swings across the plump cheek of her hindquarters. Now you hold her, warm and alive, between your thighs. In summer, wearing shorts, you feel the dander of her coat, glossy and dusty at the same time, greasing up the insides of your calves. And as she walks, each of your knees in turn feels the muscle bulge out behind her shoulder. Trotting's a matter of balance. You bounce around, unable to enter her motion, as you will when the trot breaks and she finally waltzes from 2 to 3 time. Nothing to be done at the trot, but grab again that mane that feels, though you don't yet know it, like pubic hair, and straddle her jolting spine with your seat bones, knowing that when the canter comes, you will suddenly merge, you and that powerful friend, she bunching up behind, rocking across the fulcrum, exploding forward onto the leading leg, and you digging your seat down into the sway of her back, your whole body singing, we are one, we are one, we are one. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for inviting me.
Judith, that was awesome. I am thrilled to be here today, and you did remind me, Sandy, that it is a parade. So what I'm going to do to keep with time, I will play first and then the poem, but there will be no more playings. Whoever, it's like Karen, so Karen will know. Only one time playing. But I'm so thrilled to be here, and this set is like awesome. Okay, and the poem is one of my favorites lately, so I'm just going to read it. If you haven't heard it or if you've heard it, I hope you enjoy it. And it is called Welcome to the Gender Playground from Mieko Ryu. The day I discovered a person could choose more than one pronoun, the world expanded in multiple directions, and my panda love found better bamboo forests to call home. The radical magnet, both drawn to and attracting the feminine in every person I met. That feminine, the nip to the cat within, romped untamed but always seen. The dolphin swimmer carried the queer lesbian who held hands with the they-them of me on her broad brown back, and we all smiled free in the sun. When they called me them, I felt so warm inside that ice cream didn't stand a chance, because I became a femme with a scoop of neutral on top, reaffirming my inclination as a child to choose the gender that, in those days, could wear dresses and pants as the one I liked the best. When they called me a gay man in a lesbian's body, I let it go, because the gay man in me was so turned on by those scenes in Moonlight, one black man reaching, touching, loving another. Even my gorilla philosopher poet, usually reticent to share, burned up every time we watched it. Old as I am, I learned to repurpose queer, hold the word in my mouth with pride, let shame slowly dribble out the sides to the pavement so that I could become the butch in blossom, or the swirl mixed in with everything good, the androgynous of fun expressions. When I took time off from being the girly girl inside the woman who could not share her name, this butterfly post chrysalis, this bug under the tip of your shoe, I discovered I'm the yes and gender. Look out, it's me. Thank you.
I love that poem, Yeva. So I'm reading a poem that is about a love past, and sometimes love is fleeting, but poetry is immortal. Happy Pride, everyone. In this music of life and light, my bounty is as boundless as the sea, my love as deep. The more I give to thee, the more I have, for both are infinite. William Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet. I'll still vibe with you someday, Marissa. One of us in floral pants, Nike shoes, hands climbing nice trellis like joyous wisteria, wise, brightly colored and blooming, standing out against darkness, not giving darkness any thought in this music of life and light. One of us dancing further off, gray-haired endurance, longevity, wearing a flannel shirt in blue, red, and white, in a place where these colors mean freedom and democracy, in a boundless sea where we aren't politicized. I'll still vibe with you someday, Marissa. In any place, I'll still vibe with you, my bounty awesome. Unfolding in unceasing waves, sea to sky glorious. Vibing, knowing there's only us and no bottom. Our oars running through stars, bioluminescence in Tamales Bay, Milky Way overhead. And tonight, your legs join mine, our arms wrap around each other. Before we find cover of sleep apart and vibrant dream. Our dance is always vibing, always limitless, always pleasure.
Okay. Mary Oishi.
When I was straight, standing next to my husband, singing the verses of I Shall Not Be Moved, along with the crowd, along with Pete Seeger, I sang in a strong voice, young and old together, rich and poor together, black and white together, but froze, voiceless, paralyzed, when he and we, not me, sang gay and straight together, certain a huge neon sign would instantly appear above my head with a big red arrow pointing down, flashing, here's one right here. Nor could I say the word lesbian, not even all alone. I knew for sure it would choke me to death. Just thinking that dreaded word made my throat begin to seize. When I was straight, my hands went to hairless places on my husband's sides so that with my eyes closed, he became a she, a brief reprieve. When I was straight, long before the internet, I found the address of some lesbian group way out west in Boulder. I wrote asking how it was out there, that I was thinking of moving there because being in the Bible Belt was so hard. They never answered me. I somehow found a San Francisco number for the Daughters of Bilitis, which I finally worked up the nerve to call. Startled when a man answered, I asked, is this the Daughters of Bilitis? You mean the Daughters of Bilitis? He laughed. No, it's not. When I was straight, the first time a woman kissed me on the mouth, I went rigid as a board. The next day she demanded, why did you go stiff like that? I don't know, but if you ever do it again, I promise I won't react that way. I kept my word. Thank you. Happy Pride.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. That's Mary Oishi. And in that set, we heard from Mary Oishi, Karen Poppy from the Lavender Review. I like to just get it all in when I can. Yeva Johnson, thank you for our musical interlude. Judith Barrington, card number 66. And Risa Denenberg, card number 68 in Lesbian Poet Trading Card Series. Folks, I'm gonna ask both JD and Risa to in this interlude to help me out with our next gifts. So Risa, I'm going to ask you to take Pride, Pride, and you're going to help us gift away 5 copies of Kai Coggin's Mother of Other Kingdoms, published by Small Harbor Publishing. And of course, Kai is card number 92 and was with us last week in our Pride Part 1. So tell me the 5 names of your Pride, if you would.
Karen Poppy.
Ooh.
Yeva Johnson, I didn't cheat. Joanne James, and Arden Hill.
Arden Hill. I only got 4. Who was the 5th?
Oh, okay.
I got Karen, Yeva, Joanne, and
let's see.
Arden. Okay, and who's the 5th? I'm sorry.
Okay. Then the next to her is Marianne Brems.
Marianne, great. Thank you. You all will be getting a copy of Kai Coggin's latest collection, Mother of Other Kingdoms, and Kai from Small Harbor Publishing. Thank you so much to them. And we're going to go to JD. And JD, you've been so generous gifting your book. Tell us a little bit about your book, and let's do your gift away.
Oh, thank you. So it's a collection. It's my third, and it has both prose and poetry. So if you don't like poetry, I don't know why you're here, but it has both of them, and I'm so happy to be able to give some away. So you want me to count Pride? And
Yep, just do Pride. Yep, let's do your
okay.
squares.
Yep. Let's so we'll do Jenny,
Jenny, who's coming up in the next set. Yep.
And Sarah. And Mel. Scott. And James.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's Jendi Isip. Thank you for your reading. Thanks for being you. And keep doing the beautiful stuff that you do. I love hearing you read from When I Was Straight whenever I get to hear you read from it. So I hope I get to hear from you read from it again very, very soon. Thank you for those giveaways. Wow, everybody. It is like candy here. It is like throwing candy from the floats with all these amazing books. And Risa, we've got one more gift away, and no, I'll keep it for the next one. Okay. In the next set, oh my gosh. Wow. Folks, I always say I have the best seat in the house, and I know it. I know it. And am I ever excited to hear this next group of folks? We're going to start with Marianne Brems, who is also in Lavender. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm literally throwing the book like around. From Lavender Review, A Taste. This is such an amazing collection. So you're going to be hearing some poems from that. Marianne Brems, Jenny Factor. I am so excited that you are with us today. And Jenny is card number 32. And one of these days I'm coming to Boston and yep, we're going to hang out. And thank you for being here. Folks, I'm supposed to be reading bios. See, I get so excited that everybody's here that I forget to do my job. I'm so sorry. Okay. Marianne Brems' latest collection, in addition to being in Lavender Review, is Stepping Stones from Kelsey Books 2024. And Jenny Factor, card number 32. Let's do it again. Jenny's latest collection is Want the Lake from Red Hen Press 2024. And you've been on tour just doing great stuff, and it's a thrill to be able to welcome you. Jen Cheng will be following Jenny. And Jen, of course, you've seen here on Cultivating Voices a number of times. Jen is the current poet laureate of West Hollywood, otherwise known as WeHo, California. See, I knew you would bring, I knew you'd bring stuff with you. Yeah, because you're really good. You're theatrical like me. Yeah, that's why we get along. Jen is a literary and social activist extraordinaire, and her latest collection is Braided Spaces from Wokalicious Press. And of course, as I said, we featured that collection here on Cultivating Voices. Following Jen will be Jendi Reiter. Jendi Reiter, I just met at the Massachusetts Poetry Festival. It was a thrill to hear Jendi read their amazing poetry, and I dreamed Jendi to come to the program, and it worked. Jendi is the vice president of Winning Writers, which I hope, if you're not familiar with this platform, that you will look that up. And their latest book is Made Man by Little Red Tree Press. And following Jendi in this set will be Arden Eli Hill. Arden's been on the program as well, and I am always thrilled to see what Arden is up to. Arden Eli Hill's latest collection is Bloodwater Parish from Seven Kitchens Press 2023. And Ron Mooring, your editor, was to be with us today and unfortunately won't be, but I just want to give a big shout out to Seven Kitchens Press. And if you're not familiar with Seven Kitchens Press, it's a exclusively chapbook press, and one of the series that they do is the Robin Becker Chapbook Prize. So it is an LGBTQ prize exclusively. So look up Seven Kitchens Press. All right, back to Marianne. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. I'm looking forward to hearing your poems.
Thank you. And thank you for putting on this poetry event. My poem is from the Lavender Review. It was published in December of last year. Just a button and a hole. A small white button lies on the floor in my closet. Which among these many clothes could have lost it? So many untamed halves in so many colors, joined by the coming together of a white button and a buttonhole just the right size, trimmed in matching thread. Could a white button, like a silver star in a dark sky, draw onlookers from all corners, complete a circle as it passes through its specific hole? Could a people divided, like an unbuttoned waistband, unable to fulfill their purpose, come together with a button and a hole? Even if the button came loose and lay a while on the floor, someone might discover it, sew it back on, even if threads didn't match or the hole wasn't quite right. Hope might linger for a little while. This poem will also be in my forthcoming collection Within the Trifles by Kelsey Books, coming later this year. Thank you.
I think I'm supposed to be next and that it'll help if I talk. So here I go. It is such an honor to be here. Sandy, thank you for the warmth of this. When I was coming out, so many of the people here are the heroes who kept me going with a book in my pocket. And Maureen Seaton was someone who reached out to me personally. So it's just a real honor to be here today. I had a crazy experience happen when I was reading from my new book. I had someone from my summer camp come to one of my readings, and camp was one of the first places that I found a kind of shame in my own body and my own desires. I went to girls' camp, so I guess enough said, right? In any case, the leading poem in this book is about summer camp and about this crazy thing that happened there and that story. And the person who came to this reading insisted I come to dinner. And I went to her house for dinner, and she finally realized that I had been really hurt, that I was bullied, right? And I guess it was her trans son who said to her, "Have you ever said I'm sorry?" And of course, no one ever says I'm sorry about these things. But she said I'm sorry to me. And it was really hard to receive. It was like being re traumatized. And at the same time, afterwards, it was so healing. So, in that proud spirit, here's a portion of that poem. The rigging. If want is the lake, I learned to sail in it. In the dog days of autumn, after the sailing coach Mary got banished for going down on a slender, dark-haired counselor under the down-turned metal bodies of the trim canoes. We all tried to picture them under there together, not sure how those two bodies would go together and move. Our own bodies, unsexed still and near one another, suntan lotion, shaving cream, as many genders as the weather, and wanting. That afternoon, Hannah flipped backside front Mary's pre-test sailing board, showed us finally how to free cords from mast and raise the fish's gasping lung into the air. Then, while my jangly boat flipped and flopped on its strip of sand, Hannah motioned me aside and said, Mary wanted so much to tell you goodbye. This odd fact jangled like a sail's mast restlessly in my mind. Understand, a young girl starts to want for nothing real, wants to hear herself sound out like a season or a song, starts to keep winter and summer in the same deep pocket of weather and regret, somehow sweet but also wrong, wants to get as far away as possible from the small and powerless shadows that scuttle and stow themselves with no gender inside her, standing as they do on one leg like angels or lying belly flat on the wood floor. Understand, in the depths of my being, I was this keening, all bell, no blind and woolly home.
Hi, is it my turn? This is Cheng. Great. I am coming from West Hollywood, which I call the gay city, and so I'm going to do a little musical opening of an overplayed chaperone song. Poetry Pride Parade, we're gonna keep on bonding at the Pride Poetry Parade. I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Poetry Pride Parade in West Hollywood. All right, that was for Sandy. Thank you, Sandy, for having this place for us to bond. Any of you who have survived a fashion failure where your outfit disappointed you, this is for you. Titled, I bought the sexy pleather moto suit Margaret Cho wore on her Instagram post, and it failed to get me a date. Shiny black with zippers that roared, flirt here, touch me, take me out on a date, but somehow failed to get the digits of any prospective felines with bright eyes. Red lace bra, strategically pushed up proud, peaking cleavage, lusting for hot sapphic hands. Billboard visual poetry pleaded single, worn only 4 times. Debut wear at Dyke March of 2019 missed a chance meeting of a famous artist nearby. Sexy A effort, candy still wrapped. Suit, skin tight, unpraised. Plastic pleather tore on its own with no touch, missing lust or consummate fiery passion. Merely time had faded the fibers like rust ruins a lamppost. That is after Sappho's, written in the sapphic form. So that is your lesbian singles disappointment of the day. Thank you, Sandy, and everyone for having this space.
Wonderful. Hey, everybody. I guess I'm next. Thank you so much for having me. This poem won the Javal Press Oscar Wilde Award, and it's in my forthcoming collection, Introvert Pervert, which is coming out from the WordWorks in January. And the Cummington Fair is a real place in Western Massachusetts. It's in August. So this poem is about that. Vita Sackville West wins the Golden Wedding Award at the Cummington Fair. An optimistic alto covers gentle on my mind in the band shell by the chicken barn. Her calves chunk in floral stitched boots. Is the idea of a woman less demanding than her pussy? Twinned oxen yoked to concrete blocks pull through dust to cheers. Desire anything because in front of you. Soap, mortgages, and dyed quartz flowers sold from white wooden stalls at the bottom of the hill. Ideas don't tire, rub themselves to rash, or bleed like roast beef dinner that's promised as a prize over the loudspeaker to the best couple 50 plus years wed. Man and woman is understood by the burlap-faced leaders of the two-step, gently resting their chins on their wives' tucked curls. Slow, slow, the alto swings long molasses hair back from her cheeky face, singing that not like other girls song. The oxen win a ribbon. The boy who hits the bell with the hammer wins a ticket to do it again. His mother sticks her face into a cream puff the way Vita would have tongued Virginia Woolf's cunt. To be pleasant memory, to be covered in art, don't cry at leavings. Blame is a trash barrel of single-use knives. Ideas are insatiable. Vita and Harold died 1 anniversary short of golden. She with her tea cakes, he with his Persian boys. And Virginia, when she weighed down her pockets with tickets for the final carousel, what vows held her up so long? Thank you.
Hi, folks. I think I am next. So I am reading a poem that is not from this collection, but that references it. It's from an emerging manuscript. It's titled Dear Danny. Dear Danny, I'm finally ready for you. For that afternoon in your office, its walls surrounded by CDs and Tori Amos singing from the radio. At 17, I told you I found Tori sexy, all red hair and swagger. She'd grip my hand after a concert before disappearing into the tour bus to wave goodbye to me and my boyfriend and the lost girls of Bloodwater Parish's tender, heavy night. You said, do you know my wife? She'd find you soft and sweet. And so maybe I didn't do anything wrong, leaning into you, letting you push your mouth against my mouth, your body against my inability to get that song out of my head. Adult now, I'm finally ready to receive your call, the one that rang in my room with Riot Girl posters and the dirty plaid skirt sulking in the corner, the white collared shirt covering the chair like an alibi, or a lie I tell my mother about who I've been. I'm finally old enough, and so maybe it isn't wrong to go back there some nights when my lover's lips against my mouth are just a little rough and the CD skips. Thank you, folks, and thanks to everybody putting this together and attending.
Thank you so much, Arden. That's Arden Eli Hill. And in that set, we heard Arden, we heard Jendi Reiter, Cheng. Thanks for bringing the music. Chapel Roan. Oh my gosh, yes, of course. Jenny Factor and Marianne Brems. Thank you all. Thank you all so much. All right, my final special guests invited to the open mic set before we head to our open mic to round out our Poetry Pride Parade. Let me do a gift away first, and I'm gonna ask Risa to come back and just do Pride and whoever is the last person, PRIDE, and that person is going to receive a set of the lesbian poet trading cards that has Risa's card in it. Card number 66, as well as Judith. They're in the same set. So who's getting a fabulous set of the cards?
So this is one person?
Yep, just one person.
Okay, let me look at that view. Megan.
Megan, that's perfect because Megan's going to be reading next. Wow, that's fab. Thank you so much. Thank you to Headmistress Press. Folks, these cards are so fun. There's a number of sets of them. There's 12 cards in every set. And if you want to see readings from these cards, in 2021, we did the reading series, The Collectibles, and we paired a living card with a legacy card. You can see people like Julie Marie Wade reading about Audre Lorde. Minnie Bruce Pratt was with us and showcased the poetry of Lucy Raplansky, who actually was alive, but she still chose the card anyway, and she joined us in the program. They were amazing. JP Howard was with us. I mean, I could go on and on and on. But anyway, that's what I want you to know. That's where the cards, how the cards have lived on, and you can buy as many sets as you like. Go over to Headmistress Press. Thank you very much, Risa and Mary Miriam, who's also here in the room with us and who was with us last week from Headmistress Press. In this next set, we're going to hear from Megan Alpert and Scott Wiggerman before we go to the open mic. So let me share a little bit about Megan. I'm so glad to see you, Megan. Megan Alpert is an award-winning journalist and poet, and was with us in our first year here on Cultivating Voices as her debut collection came out. And I still have memories of those readings. And I'm always glad to see you and hear your poetry. Megan's collection is The Animal at Your Side from Airlie Press and from 2020. And as I mentioned, we featured her here on Cultivating Voices Live Poetry, as well as we did a national coming out program also that next year, and you were part of that as well. And following Megan in this set will be Scott Wiggerman, who also has joined us in our Pride Parades, our national coming out, and one of my favorite ABQ people, Scott Wiggerman's latest collection. And I get to hear you when I have the pleasure sometimes on down with John Roche and our good friends down at Jules Poetry Playhouse in Albuquerque. Scott Wiggerman's latest collection is Leaf and Beak Sonnets from Purple Flag. And I want to mention also that you guest edited an LGBTQ plus haiku curation for the Haiku Foundation in 2023. I thought folks would find that interesting, those folks who might be interested in the haiku forum. So thank you for that. All right, I'm going to turn it over to you, Megan and Scott.
Thank you so much, Sandy. Thanks for asking me to read. Thanks for hosting such a great series. Also, I'm really excited about my new trading cards.
Yes, you are.
I'm gonna read some poems that I've never read before on stage, and they're from my second book, which I'm getting ready to send out to publishers this month. This is called I Pledge Allegiance. Girls who jump out of windows, breaking the paper and falling through, who hit the grass and crouch and rise and run. Girls who do not smile when they say no, who do not shrug their shoulders and touch their hair, who protect the shape they are with a dagger tucked into their boot, who run and keep running. Girls who refuse to be born in the castle, who refuse to be born in the little soft house, who sleep on moss, who shelter in trees, who know how to climb. Girls who come home. Girls who come home and bleed on the parquet floor, who return as a shape no one can recognize. Girls who go to live in creaky houses, who forever miss the clearing where they looked at the high cirrus clouds and counted finches, who remember the roar of the river and cannot sleep at night. Girls who turn into mothers, who dream to be close to dirt and sticks, who feel their body into a shape they can't control, their body into a place, who never cease to notice the archway of branches, the trains, who make a house to put in a blank where there was a hole where there was a father, who make a window treatment to put in a blank to replace a hole where there was a song. And many sang it. The song was a house in a time and place a girl can't remember and won't ever, having been born where she was born, having refused and replaced her birth, having only heard enough of the song to mourn it. My book, I should say, is about anger. I feel like I need to get that out before reading this one. This is called As a Red Rope. Snow erased the road, covered the signs to the cliffs. I go in alone. I want you to follow, and I hate you. Through the trees where no path is, A red rope winds. I bend to it, follow. I am a beast stuffed with words. What happened to me in your absence, what I cannot say about how wrong you are, the very fact of you. Words to guard my softest parts and that cut them when I swallow. I follow, a pain in my ribs where I bend to it, slipping on hard-packed snow. Voices run through, the rope hot beneath my hands. The last time I think of you will be on a sun-hurt street, cities away from the new life I tried. I cross against the cars to the shaded bus stop, where I try to find relief, to find shadow, sweating and waiting. And my voice is the endless red thread that I pull from my throat. Thanks so much.
Okay. I'm going to do something that, can you all hear me? Yeah, okay. I'm going to do something that I almost never do, which is read a brand new poem. In fact, it's so new, I was still editing it right up until the start of this program today. So bear with me. It's a prose poem and it's a letter poem, and it's called Liberace Writes Me a School Absence Note with a 6-color pen. Dear Sister Theodosia, is it all right if I call you Sis? Please excuse my little munchkin Scotty for missing school this week. I considered telling you that he had the 3-day measles. Well, he has had them, so it's not technically a lie. And you should know I have great respect for women who dress like my Polish Baba. I bet you flipped your wig or wimple or whatever when you heard my Ave Maria. No sweat. The truth is, I thought it was time to teach Scotty a little about glamour. Something I happen to know a thing or two about. I'm not talking about sequins and glitter, but overall demeanor. I sense that our quiet guy is a lot like me in ways I needn't get into, and I don't mean that we're both from the Midwest. I suspect, sis, that you have already noticed. Avoid sports, picked on, more effete than the other boys, right, sweetie? I know what's in store for him. So I felt it my duty to let our Scotty beat the odds, to know that someday he'll be fabulous too. Maybe not a Rolls Royce, gold candelabrum, or mansion with a piano-shaped pool, but nifty nonetheless. It's not all about blue-haired ladies with me. I also try to provide guidance for those the rags refer to as fruit-flavored. I've been there, and I laughed all the way to the bank every time I won a libel case. Besides, I've always had a special place for those named Scotty. As you and I both know, my sweet pierogies grades are the best among your students. A few days away from school only allows the others to catch up a little. Do be a dear, Sister Theo, and excuse our latent showman who needs all the flamboyance he can get. You've heard it before. I'll be seeing you, Liberace. Thank you.
That is terrific. Thank you so much, Scott. Thanks
I
to all.
thought of your David Cassidy poem as I
Yes.
was writing this.
When I heard like the letter, and I was like, oh my gosh, I just read it last night actually at a reading here. So thank you.
Cool.
And thank you, Megan, and thank you everyone, all of my special open mic guests. Let's move right away to those of you who are joining us and signed up today. Thank you for being here as part of the parade. It's one poem, up to 3 minutes. Let's try to get everybody in before the program closes at 5:15. We'll have one more gift away coming up at the end of the program, and I'll let you know some special program notes about upcoming programs to close the parade out. First, we'll hear from Billy Brown and then Joanne James.
Hello, everyone from Albuquerque, and thank you for such a festive and joyful ride down Main Street. This poem I'm reading in memory of my gay brother, Peter, who died 2 years ago at the age of 81, which is how old I am now. Faculty sponsor. I taught mathematics for 14 years at University of the Pacific in Stockton, California. I was happy there with my students and my teaching duties. I decided to run for faculty representative to the Student Affairs Committee. I won the election. My duties were to advise the Student Senate and attend committee meetings, along with others, including the Vice President for Student Affairs and the Dean of Students. One day, a student, Scott, came to my office, asked me to become the advisor to the Gay Student Union. They needed a faculty advisor, which was a requirement for them to become chartered. They had not yet found a faculty member willing to help them. I said, yes, of course, I'll be your advisor. You have a right to exist on campus as much as any other group. When their petition came before the Student Affairs Committee for approval, there were hesitations, reservations. I feared they would turn down this group. So I called for a roll call vote on the motion for approval to get everyone's vote on the record. Well, you would think I had called for a violent revolution. The Vice President for Student Affairs tabled the motion and delayed the vote until our next meeting. She contacted me with the information that the Dean of Students was a closeted gay man who would be embarrassed by having his vote on the record. I held my ground. The motion passed, and the Gay Student Union was chartered. Later, Scott let me know that he was attracted to me and wanted us to become lovers. I told them that although I was flattered, I'm sexually attracted to women, not to men. Some years later, I learned that Scott died from complications of his hemophilia. Thank you, everyone. Happy Pride.
Hi, everybody. This has been my great reading. And there's just so many themes through this that I especially made a note to Jenny that this is another story. This is a story about the summer of love. It's called Heartless. I started the boy-hating club in 5th grade. Remember strutting like Jagger to the front of the class to announce it. I had one taker. So I was with Tracy every day that summer. My first love, my first soured, my first betrayal. It was too late when I learned girls could grow heartless. It was the last day of summer before middle school. And she took part in a complex act of betrayal.
her record player spinning some 45 RPM bubblegum pop in 1968. She played a song and sang Tracy Never Let Go. Outside, the back streets were empty, and 3 girls hid in her closet, jumped out to scream at me. We knew you were a queer. I sobbed running all the way home because I knew I'd lost my best friend. I remember rumors about girls, but didn't believe she'd grow heartless and exile me far from the world she inhabited, with her straight blonde hair past her shoulders, her bow legs when I walked behind her, her laugh like happy chimes when I was a girl. Tracy, you were my first belonging, my first door slammed. I was a queer because I read too much, because I was chubby and my mother wouldn't let me shave my legs, because I was overjoyed in our friendship and not cool. I would stay in the clay swamp, her house on the other side of the pond, but she never went there. She never spoke to me again. Through middle school, through high school, she always averted her eyes. I saw her on Facebook wearing an evening gown, married to a wealthy man in Texas. Once I thought I was a secret to be kept hidden. A girl chewed up my heart, but I was king of the snapping turtles, cattails for my scepter. Nothing would stop me. My life has been a series of belonging and breaking away, clawing my way up and down snowdrifts with fistfuls of jelly beans. Those eyes of God, the top 40 records hanging on the wall in Dot's drugstore. My father's suit jacket pockets, stuffed with wads of cash, like we were royalty on Bear Road. Thank you.
Thank you. That's Joanne James and Billy Brown. And we've got just a few more folks in the parade. And my participants listing isn't really helping me that much see who may still really be in the room. So next on my list is Sylvia Clare, but I don't see Sylvia. But if you're here, unmute. I don't think you're here in the room. And then next would be Amadeus, and I believe Amadeus is with us. So I think Amadeus, you're next if you'll unmute and share your poem with us. And, sometimes people are in the room with their square. You know how this goes. So, okay, I'm going to go then next to, I think Kara Briggs is not still with us, but Kara, if you're here, Kara was with me last night in Bothell, Washington, at a reading we did in an open mic. I'm going to go to Phynne-Belle. Finn, it's so great to see you.
So good to see you, Sandy.
Thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thank you so much. Happy Pride to everybody.
Happy Pride.
I just wanted to share a poem from Reggie Cabico, Purification. Queer me, shift me, transgress me. Tell my students I'm gay. Tell Chick-fil-A I'm queer. Tell the New York Times I'm straight. Tell the mailman I'm a lesbian. Tell American Airlines I don't know what my gender is. Like me, liking you, like summer blockbuster armrest dates, armrest cinematic love, elbows to forearms in the dark. Humor me queerly, fill me with laughter, make me high with queer gas. Decompress me from the centuries of Spanish Inquisition and self-righteous judgment, like the blood, my blood, that has mixed with the colonizer and the colonized, in the extinct and instinct to love. Bust memories of water and heat, and hot and breath, beating skin on skin fluttering, bruise me into vapors, bleed me into air, fly me over sub-Saharan Africa and Asia and Antarctica, explode me from the closet of my fears, graffiti me out of doubt, bend me like a bamboo, propose to me, divorce me, divide me into your spirit to spirit, half spirit, and shadow me with fluttering tongues and caresses beyond head, heart, chakra, fist smashing jimbas. Between my hesitations, haiku me into 17 bursts of blossom and cold sake. De-ethnicize me, de-clothe me, de-gender me in brasiers and prosthetic genitalia, burn me on a brazier, wearing a brazier in bitch braggadocio soprano bass, magnificat me in vespers of hallelujah and amen. Light me in halos, heal me in halls of femi troubadours, announcing my HIV status or your status. I am not afraid to love you. Implant dialects as if they were lilacs in my ear. Medicate me with a lick and a like. I am not afraid to love you. So demand me, reclaim me, queerify me. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Wow. Oh, thank you so much. And that was just beautiful and perfect for you to be our final open mic reader today for our Poetry Pride Parade. And we're going to do one more gift away, and I'm going to read one more poem and then a few program notes. So I'm going to ask Dustin to come back one more time and Risa to come back one more time for a few more giveaways. I love that this is one of the giveaways, Dustin, that the collection, we're giving away 5 copies of Unmade Hearts, my Sorwana, which is like incredible, incredible, incredible translations of by July Westhale. And thank you for bringing translations to part of, to the program today too. Like I think it's just so perfect. And getting to hear different voices, not necessarily of our age or of our time, reminding us that this spectrum has been with us in perpetuity. And so I really appreciate Small Harbor Publishing for gifting all of these amazing books. Those of you who also, I just want to say, if you have won something today, please either private chat me your address and or send me your address over email. Otherwise, I'll be reaching out to you to ask for your address so that we can distribute all these incredible, incredible, incredible giveaways from Small Harbor Publishing, as well as JD Isip. Dustin, you donated your book as well. And of course, we're coming right back to you, Risa, to do that final giveaway from Headmistress Press. But Dustin, who are the recipients of Unmade Hearts? Oh my gosh, I wish I was eligible for all these books.
I'm just going to start, since there's been some shifting in the chat. I feel like it's safe. I'm going to start with the first on my list, which is Isaac. Followed by Isaac is Billy, then Joanne, then Jude, then is that 1, 2, 3? How many?
Yep, one more.
And Scott.
Scott. Okay, folks. Oh, you're going to be getting, what a beautiful, beautiful collection that is.
I won something already. Why does someone else want it?
You're kind to do that. You're kind.
I see Jenny raised a hand very quickly.
Okay, okay.
I won something too, but I know July Westhell and I had no idea, so I'm kind of excited.
All right. Okay, it's all good. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you, Jenny. All right, and now for our last giveaway, we're going to be, okay, Risa, we're going to be giving away a copy of Lavender Review, A Taste, the anthology that we heard a number of readings from today. and one final lesbian poet trading card gift set. So who are the two recipients? Let's do it as a bundle. Choose one person.
Two?
Let's do.
Oh,
let's
two?
send it to one person. Well, you do whatever you want.
What? Okay.
Okay, let's do
One
one.
is Dustin.
Dustin!
One is Dustin.
I love it. That seems so perfect. Okay, Dustin, you're getting a copy of the Lavender Review, a taste, as well as a set of the lesbian poet trading cards, all from Headmistress Press. Folks, last week, we were graced with readers from Love is for All of Us, from Poems of Tenderness and Belonging from the LGBTQ plus community and friends. I was able to meet both James and Brad up here in the Seattle area last week. Have to go to a reading from that collection, and I wanted to read a final poem, and wouldn't as luck have it, with all the things I've got here, I had put it down for a moment, and now of course here it is. I wanted to end with this poem because we didn't share it last time, and it's a poem that Brad Peacock, one of the editors of Love is for All of Us, read the other night on Bainbridge Island, and it just seems really appropriate as a way to close out our Poetry Pride Parade. And this is a poem that he wrote called Our Anthem for my LGBTQ plus family. Our Anthem. You can scrub letters from websites. You can take away our health care. You can do your best to strip away our humanity. We will not be erased. You can misgender people. You can continue your campaign of casual cruelty. You can burn these very written words. Ban the books that mention our existence. We will not be erased. We are loving sons, daughters, and children. We are brothers, sisters, and siblings. We are family. We are friends. We are neighbors. We are those who care for your loved ones. We are those who risk our lives for your freedom. We are the farmers who feed your families. We belong in every community. We will never allow your darkness to diminish us. We are devoted prisms of brilliance, whose collective fractals of light will forever find the fissures in the barriers you fabricate. We will never be erased. I think of all of you as these beautiful, beautiful prisms of brilliance, and thank you for bringing your brilliance, your whole beautiful beings today to our second of our two Poetry Pride parades in this, our 5th anniversary. It has been heartwarming, moving, and incredibly uplifting to be with all of you today here. And I want to thank each and every one of our readers from the first hour, from, of course, the beautiful anthology, When I Was Straight, a tribute to Maureen Seaton. I want to thank those of you, all of you who read from the anthology. And I want to thank those of you who shared poems from Lavender Review, a taste. Those of you who are our lesbian poet trading cards. And those of you that just came to read and share, who have all your affiliations with all your different communities. Every single one of us matters in this incredible tapestry that we call life. And I'm so glad that we were able to have our parade today. And thanks for the music, those of you who brought the music. I'm thinking Jen, and I'm thinking Yeva. So many special things you shared here today, all of you. Well, if you liked what you heard today, I am sorry to tell you we are going on summer hiatus now. But we will be back at the end of August, the last Sunday of August, opening up our fall season. It's our Poetry Barbecue New Book Showcase. Yep, we like to have poetry experiences at Cultivating Voices Live Poetry. So keep those grills fired up all summer long. Join us at the end of August. We're looking forward to being with all of you. And would you all please unmute and show your appreciation for all of today's readers before I just say my final note? Thank you.
Yay.
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 Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, we will, as I said, return in the fall, the late summer, early fall. And my wish for you all is that you navigate these times as best as you can. Use poetry to do that. Certainly, poetry is a thing that is an incredible buoy to me. It holds joy and grief are always holding hands. You hear me say that many, many times. And poetry really is the life force that kind of helps me keep that in balance. I know that's true for so many of you. I wish you good writing, good reading, and just very good living through these next couple months until we meet again for Cultivating Voices. But of course, I hope I'll see you in my travels around this summer, and whether that's in person or on Zoom, or of course, reach out anytime. And of course, post on Cultivating Voices Live Poetry, our site. That will continue. That's in the continuous flow of being on that thing we call Facebook Meta. So please, of course, feel free to stay in touch with us that way while we're on hiatus from our programs. We will be coming back with you in the fall with a whole host of Poets Focus open mics on all kinds of themes. We have some incredible new book showcases with featuring books that are out this year, as well as, of course, our very popular wild card open mic, always the first, second, and third Sundays of every month. And so we're looking forward to recharging, but returning and sharing poetry as we love to do. Again, this program could not be accomplished at all without Don Krieger and Kim Ports Parsons. Thank you so much to the two of them, and to each and one of you, and to all the poets who join us every week, and whether that's live or whether that's seeing us on the recordings. It is my greatest joy in my life to be the host of this program. As I say, I always have the best seat in the house, and I look forward to being with you in August. Until then, do what I always say at the end of the program. Take very good care of yourselves. Take exceptionally good care of your beloveds, and keep writing your miraculous poems. We need them more than ever. This is Sandy Yannone for Cultivating Voices Live Poetry. Happy Pride, everyone. Be well.